Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. It's time for another everyday makeup drawer. I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently this time, and I'm not going to be doing a recap since, as you can see, if you have watched some of my past videos, you'll know that this is a little bit of a different setup here. I went ahead and cleared out the products that were already in here. I did have a few empties from the previous month, and I also had maybe one or two declutters of products that just didn't really work for me anymore, so I've changed up everything. I've kind of taken away some of the clutter that was up here. I had canisters full of brushes all around this area and it was just a little bit too much, so I'm starting completely fresh this month. But I am going to talk you through the few little things that are in these drawers. Now, just in my little cute little kitty here, I have some favorite brushes from e.l.f. Over here in my little reindeer mug, I have my high-end brushes, and then in that pink kitty mug over there, I have like my single shadows that are like my favorites. But in this first drawer right here, I have my Milani eyeshadow primer, and then that little single is from Wet n Wild. That is the shade Brulee. I use that to set my eyeshadow primer. And then just in this drawer right here, this is all of the mascaras that I have currently open. I like to keep all of them in my everyday makeup drawer constantly. I never take any of them out. They just live here permanently. So that allows me to use those interchangeably. Let's go ahead and pick out the new products for this month. This top drawer here, I have like my primers, foundations, concealers, that kind of thing. Now this time I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I usually pull like 2 foundations, 2 concealers, and all that, 2 primers. This time I'm not going to be doing that. I want to really use the products in my everyday makeup drawer. And I find when I give myself way too many options, I tend to only focus on one over the other. So this time I'm only going to be picking like maybe one of each, except for powder. I do like to use a pressed and a loose, but other than that, the rest of the products, one each. First, I have all my little brow products in here. I am going to put this back in there from Kosas. This is their Air Brow. This is like a deluxe mini size that I got with a birthday gift at Sephora. I want to continue using this because I feel like I'm about to have an empty and I want to use this up completely. And I think for the pencil, and this also has a brow gel too. This is from Laura Geller. This is the Sculpt and Stay Waterproof Brow Pencil and Gel, and this one is in the shade Black Brown. This has like the pencil on one side, and then it has the gel on the other. The gel is not really my favorite, but I am going to be using it along with the Kosas one, so I'm going to be including this one for my brow products. I'm not going to be using, if you can see the little container right here, that's all like my eyeliners and some eyeshadow sticks. I'm not going to be using any of those. I know I should, but I never end up using them, so I'm just going to leave them be for this month. So let's move on right here. These are all of my primers. Now I'm going to kind of treat this everyday makeup drawer for this month almost like an unofficial project pan, because there are a few products that I'm going to be using that I feel like I could really use up if I consistently use them for this month. And the first one is this one right here. This is a little deluxe mini size of the Say Glowy Super Gel. This one is in Star Glow, just like, I think that's like the lightest shade maybe. I really love this stuff. Honestly, I'd be fine with using this and then my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and I'd be fine if these were the only 2 primers in my collection. I feel like I can really use this completely up since it is such a tiny mini. I feel like during this month I could easily get an empty, so that's why I want to include it. The same reason that I'm including the Kosas Brow Gel. I think I can get a couple of empties and that's just a good feeling, so I'm going to include this one. Now see, normally I'd pick another primer, but this time, nope, I'm going to be focusing on that primer only, and I want to get an empty, and if I run out of that one, then I'll put another one in here for the rest of the month. Okay, let me zoom you in a little bit more here. This is the drugstore side, and this is more of the high-end side. I already know exactly which one I'm going to include, and that's this one right here from Tower 28. This is their Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 30. This one's in the shade 10 Larchment. As you can see, I really have a good dent in this, and I'm finding it a lot harder to squeeze this out of the little needle nose here, and I'm probably going to have to be cutting this one open soon just to get the rest of the product. I already have a backup of this one waiting for me. This is one of my most favorite tinted sunscreens, and I feel like this is another product that if I consistently use this product every single day this month, or for the majority of the month, I probably could maybe get an empty. I don't know, because once I open it up, like cut it open, there's probably going to be a lot more product in there that I think. I just feel like I really want to focus on products that I think I could really either A, use up, or B, get pretty close to using up completely. So I am going to be including this one this time. Well, I'd completely skipped over my correctors and concealers here. I don't know if I want to use this one. Okay, yeah. Let's go with this one. This is the e.l.f. Putty Color Correcting Eye Brightener. This one's in the shade Fair. As you can see, I do have pan in this, so I'm going to include this one this time, get some more good use out of it. Maybe I can extend the pan in this, so I'm going to be including this one for my corrector. And for concealer, I know there's one. Is this one? Yes. Okay, this is the Slip Tint Concealer from Say. This is a new concealer for them and for me. I want to get a lot of use out of this because I feel like I haven't really formed my final thoughts on this. So I'm going to be using this one, and mine's in the shade 1. So I really want to use it because the couple of times I've liked it well enough, so I want to get my final thoughts on this, so I'm going to be including this one for this month. And as you can see in the back, I have all of my powders. Now, they're not separated by drugstore or high-end. I just squeezed them wherever I could squeeze them. Now this time I am going to use a pressed and a loose. I've gotten to where I like using some of my loose powders almost like dry shampoo. I don't know if you really are supposed to do that, but I find that it works well enough for me, so I'm going to continue doing that. And one powder that I don't like on my face, I think this is, yes, is this one right here. Now, I love the Halo Glow setting powder, but this is the light pink shade. This shade just kind of, I feel like oxidizes on me. It just kind of darkens my skin a little bit. I don't know why. I guess it's probably because I don't have any pink in my skin. I have a very warm undertone, like an olivey undertone, so I guess this pink just doesn't really work for me. So I've been using this in my hair for dry shampoo. That's why I'm going to include a loose and a pressed, because I'm probably going to end up using this one more so for dry shampoo because it works, and I mean, I'm just going to continue using it, and if that's the way I can use up a powder like this, then hey, at least I'm getting some use out of it, so I'm going to be including this one more so for the hair, not really the face. Now, for my pressed option, I have the newest powder to me would be this one right here from Tarte. This is their Face Tape Pressed Powder, and this one is in Fair Light Neutral. I have really actually been enjoying this powder on its own, like wearing it almost like powder foundation. But now I take a very small amount because this powder has a chance to get really heavy and really cakey if you're not too careful with it, so I've been using really small amounts of it and using it kind of like a powder foundation, or almost the way I would a concealer, like really taking a more dense brush, like a small dense eyeshadow brush, and really packing it on my under eyes. And when it's not over the top of a corrector, when it's just on my bare skin like that, I actually feel like it looks really beautiful. It does cover my dark circles, so I've been liking wearing it like that, and it's been perfect for these really hot days just to throw this on my face and be out the door. So I am going to be including this one, and I love the packaging. Like, I love that pretty reflective packaging like that. Now that is everything for this top drawer, so I'm going to move on to the bottom drawer, which has like my bronzers, highlighters, and all of my lip products. That drawer is a mess. I don't even know what to do and how to handle the lip product situation because I haven't been anywhere to purchase any new like acrylic, like these little containers or anything, so I feel like the lip products are a mess, which you will see in just a second. But let's move on to the lower drawer. Okay, here is everything in the bottom drawer of this filing cabinet. As you can see, it's a mess. It is a mess, and I have no excuse for it. See, look at that. Look how messy. They're everywhere. There is no organization whatsoever in this drawer. Now, I don't have them in here because I keep these at my little table over here all the time where I do my makeup. So for my lip liner this time, I am going to be using these three from Tower 28. These are the three new shades that they just released. So let me go ahead and swatch these for you. Okay, so we have the shades Check Me Out, which is this one over here. Then in the middle, we have Paint My Number, and then this deepest shade is Color Me Fine. I love these lip liners. My favorite lip liners of all time are from Tower 28. They have 6 shades now, and then I also really love the ones from Kosas, but I'm going to be including these 3 this time since they are newer shades that they just released. For lip oil, what I've been doing with lip oil lately has been just really putting that in my bathroom, so I'm using it constantly all day long. I know I got an empty that way last month when I did that, so I'm going to do that again for this month. And I think I want to use, oops, maybe one of these by Color Spell. I just realized something. Were they trying to copy the NYX ones? Because the cap. I never really paid that much attention before, but now I think, yeah, that's what they were going for. But I'm going to use this one from Color Spell. This is the shade Daybreak. These are their high gloss lip oils. This was sent to me in PR, and they're decent lip oils. They're not bad at all, but they're just like basically like a clear on the lips. They're a very wet lip oil. It almost feels like you're placing water on your lips. I mean, they're very comfortable, don't get me wrong, but if you're not really into that, then you won't like them. And this brand is sold at Dollar General, by the way. Okay, I think I want to include that lip stain this time. If you watched my video that went up this past Monday, then you will have seen that lip stain that I have been really obsessed with, and it's this one right here from Milani. This is the Color Fetish Hydrating Lip Stain, and this one is in the shade Bitten Berry. This is a beautiful, beautiful lip stain, and I really love to use it with a brush. I don't really like applying it from the wand because I feel like it goes on a little bit kind of streaky, at least on me. I think that's more of a me thing, but it is such a beautiful, beautiful shade. And I love that as it wears down throughout the day, it almost becomes like a My Lips But Better shade for me. And that's what I really love about it because it just looks so natural. It wears away so naturally on me and I love that. So going to be including this one. I want to include one lipstick this time. I know I usually do like 2 or 3, but no, I want to use one because I want to really focus on one. So I kind of have lipsticks everywhere. As you can see, there's some lipsticks right down here, and then I have some lipsticks back here in this little container. So let me see here. All right, we have some from e.l.f. Buxom. Do I want to include that one? Or let me keep looking because I don't know yet. What's this one? One from Lawless. I'm thinking maybe either the one from Lawless or the one from Buxom. Let's go with the one from Buxom. Okay, this is their Full Force lipstick in the shade Goddess. I got this one at TJ Maxx, so I have no idea if it's still available. I love how it has like the lipsticks on it. I think this was a shade that maybe looked a little bit light on me, but I think paired up with some of these lip liners, it would be really beautiful. I'm not sure about that. Maybe I'm talking about the Lawless one. It was either this one or the one from Lawless that looked just way too light on me, but with a lip liner, it was beautiful. But I'm going to include this shade. I don't feel like I've used this shade enough, so I'm going to include that one. And I think I'm going to include one gloss this time. I don't really want to give myself a lot of variety because I really want to use what is in my everyday makeup drawer. I don't want to just use, like if I picked 3 glosses before, I would just use one of them and not give the other 2 a really good chance. So I just kind of want to correct that this time. I think I'm going to go with this one right here. This one is from Unearthly Cosmetics. This was their collab with Heather Alston, and this one is in the shade Omen. It's a really beautiful gloss. I just don't get a lot of use out of it. So you can see, it's very pretty. It's got like really beautiful shimmer in it, this like multicolored. It's very lovely, but I don't think you could buy the gloss by itself. I believe you had to buy the full collection to get the gloss, but it's a lovely shade. I don't know if this collection is even still available or not. I really don't know, but it is a nice gloss, so I'm going to include that one. Also, I wanted to show you, I wiped away that stain and there's the shade it leaves behind. Isn't that just so pretty? Oh, I love that so much. And it's kind of like a My Lips But Better shade. It's so stunning. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to pick for lip products this time. I really want to focus on those and really, really use them. So let's move on to bronzers. I have 2 sections here for bronzer, which that's gotten out of control. Now, normally I would use a cream and a powder, but I think this time I'm just going to use a powder bronzer. I really want to focus on one. Give one my full attention. So I think I'm going to use this one right here from NYX, which is right here on top. This is their Buttermelt bronzer, and this one is in the shade Buttercup. This is the lightest shade. I really do like this bronzer. It's such a pretty shade. It just looks so beautiful and so natural on the skin, and I just think it's so lovely. It is very pigmented though, so if you are not into really pigmented bronzers, you probably wouldn't like this, but it is such a lovely formula, so I want to get some really good use out of this one. So I'm going to include this one, and that's going to be my only bronzer pick for this month. I'm not going to pick any highlighters. I just don't really wear highlighter. I would love to maybe have one good natural looking powder highlighter, and then for my cream highlighter I'd probably only keep the Merit stick, like the highlighting balm stick. So if you have a good recommendation for a good powder highlighter that looks natural, like I don't want one that's full of glitter, I don't want one that's colorful, I just want a very simple, more on the natural light side, I would maybe do that and like get rid of everything except for have that one and then have the Merit highlighting balm stick. That would be like my one cream, and then that would be all I'd ever need. I know Fenty just launched some new ones that are kind of like skin tone, I believe. And then I think Natasha Denona also launched some new highlighters. I don't know about either of those, but if I can find a good powder one, that would probably be the only one I'd ever have, and have that one and then have the Merit, and then that'd be it. So I'm done with this drawer, so I'm going to move on over to where I keep my blushes and my eyeshadow palettes. Okay, here we have all my powder blushes over here, and then I have some creams over here. This is another drawer that's an absolute mess. I have no excuse as to why I haven't reorganized it. I really don't. There's absolutely no excuse, so I'm just going to ignore it for now. There's a few powder blushes that I have a good idea as to what I want to use. I pulled some of them for that video that I did where I was mentioning high-end makeup that was worth it, and I want to pull those back in, so... The first one is this one right here from RMS Beauty. This one is their Redimension Hydra Powder Blush, and this one's in Maiden's Blush. This is such a lovely blush shade, and I want to get some really good use out of this one. As you can see, that stain is still there and will probably be with me for a while. But you can see just how pretty that shade is. I mean, you might not can because I'm filming this. I have to use my ring light because I'm filming this very early in the morning, so I don't have natural lighting, but it is such a beautiful, beautiful shade. And I know I have my bronzer in here somewhere. This is the Bare Minerals bronzer in Kiss of Pink. This one would be my favorite out of the shades that I have, and I just love this so much. And it's been a while since I've used it. Well, now, isn't that interesting? It kind of looks very similar to this shade, but you know what? I definitely have a type with blush. I tend to stick to the same shades, so that's fine. I'm going to include both of those, and I want to pick one more that's from the drugstore. Now, for blush, I'm definitely okay with giving myself multiple options because I like to have options with the blush. I know that I should pick one and then go from there and really use it up, but I wouldn't be happy doing that because blush is one of my most favorite parts of makeup application, so I'm going to be picking at least 3. I'm going to pick one from the drugstore now. Choose Burt's Bees, Rimmel, CoverGirl. It's more regular. I don't know what I want my other one to be. I don't know if I should go with one of my favorites or pick something that I haven't used in a while. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go with this one. I haven't used this one in a long time, and this is from Burt's Bees. This is in the shade Shy Pink, and it's a really, really pretty shade. That used to be one of my most favorite blushes, and I have not used it in a while. So yeah, it's a little bit more cool tone than them, so that'll give me a little bit more of a cool tone option, so I'm going to go with that one. And this time I'm not going to be picking any creams or liquids. I'm just going to focus on some powder blushes right now, so that's all I'm going to pick out for this drawer, so I'm going to move on to eyeshadow palettes next. Now, normally I pull a palette from my drugstore and my high-end. However, there is one palette in particular that I'm going to be including because they're bringing this palette back, and I want to include this one, and that is the original Urban Decay Naked palette. Now, I will say this. I was not seriously into makeup when this palette kind of originally rose to fame. I come into makeup a lot later after this palette was already gone. However, when I first got into like YouTube and stuff, some people were still mentioning how this was their favorite palette. They wish they'd bring it back and everything. So I felt like I was missing out. So what I did, I went on Mercari and I found someone selling this palette brand new in the box and everything, and I bought it. But as you can see, I have not really hardly touched it. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I don't use them as much as I should, so I'm going to pull this palette back out. I won't be buying the new one because I have this one and mine's not even touched, so I will not be buying the new one, but because they are bringing it back, I thought it'd be fun this month to pull this palette out and get some use out of it, do some looks with this palette, kind of get a feel more for the formula. I believe they're going to maybe revamp the formula for the new one, but I have the original one right here. I don't need to purchase the new one. So if you would like to see a video of me using this and doing a lot more looks with it since they're bringing it back, I'd be glad to do that, but I'm going to be including this one and this is the only one I'm going to be including this month. I feel like that's going to be kind of fun to do. So this is it for eyeshadow palette. So now let me go ahead and move everything back into the drawers. Okay, I'm really sorry that it looks a little bit dark, but if I turn this ring light too much, it will glare very badly. So I'm hoping you can at least see what I'm doing, but this part is mostly just me doing a speed run of me placing the products back in, but I can't put my ring light full on these things because it just reflects so badly. So let's go ahead and put these back in. Okay, all done. Now, of course, I have an empty drawer here since I'm not pulling as many products, but this palette will not fit in there, unfortunately, so I'm just going to lay it up there. But now that I have everything placed back into my drawer, let's go ahead and do a get ready with me style portion of this video where I'll be using all of these products. So now that I've picked out all of those products, I'm going to do a very quick and easy, simple get ready with me kind of video. Let me zoom in a little bit more so I can apply my primer. I put everything in this little basket that I have sitting here. This is my little helper basket, I guess would be a good word for it. If I can find all of my primers in here and just threw everything in here. Here we go. Of course, the first thing I'm going to do is apply my eyeshadow primer from Milani. This is a really good eyeshadow primer, but I recently got a comment about Divina Cosmetics having a eyeshadow primer that is really good for oily eyelids, so I might have to try that one. And I know that in a video in the past I said that I would not be purchasing any more eyeshadow primers because the Milani one works so well for me, but it has not really been working the greatest for me right now during these really hot months. I find that my eyelid has just really kind of been oily a lot, so eyeshadow just has not really been sticking that well. Once we get out of the summer months, the Milani one will be fine, but if I tried the Divina one, I might end up liking that one way better than this one anyway, and I do want to continue supporting Divina. I have not purchased anything, I think, since the beginning of the year, and I would really like to pick up some more products, so I want to definitely give that a try. So for my face primer, I'm going in with the Say Glowy Super Gel. This one is in Star Glow. I saw where they just released like a rose glow. I would really like to try that one too. It says it's universal, so I'm assuming that it would work for my skin tone, maybe? I don't know. Now, I know the one they have that looks kind of bronzy, that one definitely would not work for me, but maybe the Rose Glow one would. I might purchase it in a mini size because I believe they sell it in the mini size because I really love this stuff. I think that it is the most prettiest, glowiest primer, and I've never had a foundation not lay really nicely over the top of it, and it works really well with my sunscreen, my favorite Sun Bum sunscreen. So that's another plus because some of the primers I have, they do not work with that sunscreen, and look, when it comes between them and the sunscreen, I'm going to pick that sunscreen over and over and over because I love it so much. And then for my lip prep, I'm going to use that lip oil from Colorspell. This one's in the shade Daybreak, but it has a very slight pinky tint, but it's not that noticeable on the lips. After I finish filming this part of the video, this is going to live in my bathroom for this whole month so I can use it multiple times a day, so I can really get some good use out of it. That's how I got an empty last month when I used that lip oil. I probably was using it at least 3 or 4 times a day, and I got through it, so hopefully get some good use out of that one. I'm going to take that little Brulee shade from Wet n Wild, and I'm going to take that on a Flawless concealer brush from e.l.f. And I'm going to set my eyeshadow primer with that today, since I am actually going in with some real eyeshadow because I have been doing like one and done looks lately a lot. So I kind of want to set that down to make sure there's no, it's not too tacky, because I just find the eyeshadow just will not blend that well. You can also use your face powder for this too, but I've always used that Brulee shade more so than face powder when I do this, so that's why I'm going to be including that. I've gone through so many of those. Out of everything in my makeup collection, that's probably my most repurchased product. I want to say I've gone through at least 5 to 10 of them, and I don't think you can be able to see it, but it looks like I'm already about to hit pan again in this one. I'm going to take the shade Naked on a Sigma E24, and we're going to run that in my crease. I'm sure there's a lot of very happy people right now that this palette will be making a comeback, but I saw that it would be for a limited time. I've used this palette maybe like twice. But now, like I said, I was not as seriously into makeup then when this palette was a big deal like I am now, and I think it's a pretty palette, but I just don't have that kind of attachment to it. But I definitely understand those that do are really excited for it to come back. You know, I almost said that I was going to purchase the new palette and compare it to this one, but that would be so dumb of me because I already know. I don't use this one, so I'll just have to see if anybody else that I watch and am subscribed to, if they might have the original and they compare it, because some people probably might end up getting it in PR. So I'm not purchasing that palette when I already have one and I don't even use this one, but I would be curious to know if it's better or if it's about the same. Using that same brush, I'm going in with the shade Dark Horse, and I'm gonna stamp that on this outer half of my lid. I think I might have picked up a little bit too much of that shade. Because if you watch my videos, you know I do not add a ton of depth to my looks. It's not for me. I think it's beautiful, but it's just, I don't know, I like barely there eyeshadow right now. It's just what I like the most. But I didn't want to just use that first shade and then go in with a shimmer and call it a day. I want to do a little bit something more. So I'm taking this brush, the Flawless Concealer brush from e.l.f., and I'm running just all over that to really soften that up to like that, like it's a lot softer. They blend out really well. So, because I don't remember, I've used this palette only a handful of times, but I don't remember having any issues with any of the shades, but it's been a very long time since I've used this palette, but it is pretty. I mean, I can see why people like it. Like, if you love these more cooler tone nudes, then I can see why you would really love this palette. On a Sigma E57, I'm going in with the shade Sidecar. Every time I see the name Sidecar, I'm just placing that right in the center, by the way, but every time I see that name, I think about the little boy on Bob's Burgers whose name is Sidecar. And that is a pretty shade. And then using that same brush, I'm going in with the shade Sin. You know, it really is a very pretty palette. I kind of do wonder why they don't make it permanent. Like, why they're only bringing it back for a limited time. I feel like you could make so much money off of this palette if you kept it permanent. So for mascara, I'm going to be using my Refi one. This is about to be an empty, so I'm trying to use it as much as I possibly can. So let me go ahead and apply that off camera, because you have definitely seen me apply this over and over and over. It's just that really curved wand. This is one of my most favorite mascaras. I definitely will be purchasing this mascara again. So let me go ahead and do that right quick off camera, and then we'll come back and move on to my face. I'm going to go ahead and show you an up close of the eyes, because I'm about to zoom out and do my face makeup. It is a really pretty eyeshadow palette. That's a pretty look. And we'll go in with my Tower 28 tinted sunscreen. Here's hoping I can, here's hoping I can squeeze some of this out, because it's getting to the bottom of it, of the little tube. And then, of course, I like to shear this out on the back of my hand. That lip stain is going to live there forever. This is one of my most favorite tinted skin products. I just love how lightweight it is, because that's what I've been reaching for, just these really light coverage products, and I don't know, I just tend to favor these. Next I'm going to take the e.l.f. Putty Color Correcting, what's it called? Putty Color Correcting Eye Brightener. This one's in the shade Fair. I'm only going to use this on one side though. I'm going to put it on this side over here, because I want to see how that Say concealer performs on its own, because I just can't remember how I really truly feel about it, because I've only used it a handful of times. So I'm just going to place the corrector on one side and leave the other side to just use the concealer. What I love about this particular corrector is if I don't want to put a concealer over the top, I don't have to. Okay, I'm only going to apply 2 little dots on both sides. And let's see how it performs. Since I have this brush, I'm just going to go in with the brush and just kind of see. I'll go way back over it with my sponge, but just try it like this. I did wipe off the corrector, by the way. I just used my little silicone mat over here, so it's not getting mixed in. If you're looking for a really good concealer brush, this one from e.l.f. is nice. This is their Flawless Concealer Brush. I believe they still make this one. I don't believe they discontinued it. It's a really good one. If you are someone that likes to apply your concealer with a brush, then you probably would really love this one. I think it's a perfect size, but I do like going back in with my sponge, just because that's just something I do. You do not have to do that, because the brush really does the work, but I just prefer pressing everything in with a sponge. Okay, I'm really going in on the silicone matte with this brush because I want to make sure all that product's off. I'm going to use the same brush for some under eye powder. And I'm going to use this one from Tarte, the Face Tape Press Powder. This one is Fair Light Neutral, which I believe is the lightest shade. I'm just going to take a small amount of that, press out any creases, and press that in. I'm going to press that all around this part of the face. This powder can absolutely look heavy. I really more so like it on its own. I think it's a pretty powder, but it can absolutely be heavy. So if you have really dry skin, I don't know about this one. Maybe if you're careful and you really prep your skin, you might can, but I'm still a little glowy because I'm not taking big amounts of this. I'm just going back in with this E57. I'm going to go back in with the shade Naked. I'm going to run that on my lower lash line. Go ahead and finish that part up. Then I'm going to go back in with that mascara on my lower lash line. Next is bronzer. I'm going in with the Buttermelt bronzer from NYX. This is in the shade Buttercup. I'm going to take that on a pointed powder brush from e.l.f. They don't make this brush anymore. Sad to say it, because it is such a good powder brush. Like, it's perfect for bronzer. Because I like a little bit more of a fluffier brush when I do bronzer. So I'm so disappointed that they got rid of this. It's just such a pretty bronzer shade. I like how on me it looks more like a neutral shade. It's just really pretty and it blends out so effortlessly. That's why I just wanted to use it by itself. I didn't want to include another bronzer. I just wanted to get some really good use out of this one. For blush, I'm going to go in with the Burt's Bees one. This one is in the shade Shy Pink, and I'm going to take that on an e.l.f. Flawless Face Brush. I don't remember how pigmented this is, so I've just tapped in one time. All I did was dip once and then tap off the excess in the little cap. That's a pretty shade. I don't believe there's, I don't even know if they still sell this blush. At the time when I purchased mine, I believe there were 3 shades. I did have all 3, but I think I ended up decluttering the other 2 because I just wanted this one. Of course, you know, if it's still available, everything will be listed and linked for you below. Now, they are affiliate links, so if you click through and purchase, I do earn a small commission, and if you choose to do so, thank you so much for supporting my channel. But anything that I can find, I'll have it linked for you below. So just know it's always there for your convenience if you need to find something. Okay, for brows, I'm going with this Laura Geller Sculpt and Stay Brow Pencil Gel. The only thing I don't like about these dual-ended is there's no spoolie. Now, I know that is not a big deal, but it's just an extra brush that I have to use, which sounds lazy, and it probably is, but that's the only thing I don't like about these. To brush my hairs down, because I have sparseness more in the top part of my brow than the lower part. The tone of this is really perfect though. I do like the shade. And if it was a brow pencil you were interested in, Laura Geller is always doing sales. Never pay full price for a Laura Geller product. There are always sales going on her website. Yeah, it's a perfect shade. I wish she sold like the pencil separately without the gel on the other side. She might, I just don't know about it, but I would prefer that. Okay, and then I'm going to take the gel side, and I'm going to keep that on this outer portion of the brow. I'm going to go in with the Kosas on the beginning portion. Yeah, I really love the shade of this brow pencil. I wish she made the brow pencil separate from the gel, and maybe she does, I'm just not aware of that, but if she did, I would definitely purchase the brow pencil by itself. The gel's fine, but I'd rather have like my Kosas or my Refi or the one from e.l.f. Last but not least, let's go in with the lips. I'm going to first use the Tower 28 one-liner multi-liner in the shade Paint My Number. I'm going to fill in the top lip and then blot down to transfer it down. Pretty. I love these. And then I'm going to take that Buxom lipstick. Pretty much kind of blended right in with that liner. And then I'm going to take a tiny bit of that Omen gloss. And then I definitely will have to wipe off the applicator. Right here in the center. And then here is the look using this month's Everyday Makeup Drawer products. I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you are alerted to all my future uploads. Follow me on Instagram at jessicadeerly, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!